to Andy Kinney. Andy's got a special guest with him tonight to talk about the Ops Sig. And I think this is really an important organization for you to be familiar with if you've never heard of it before. So Andy, I'll turn it over to you, sir.
Gotta unmute myself. Okay, thank you, Jim. For this month, Eric Smith kindly offered to put a program on, a short program on the Ops Sig, the Operations Special Interest Group. And Eric is editor of the Ops Sig quarterly journal, The Dispatcher's Office. He's also on the board of the Ops Sig, or the Operations Special Interest Group. And he's building a railroad called the North Star Subdivision, a proto-freelance portion of the Canadian Pacific Railway. So Eric, I'll hand it over to you, and thank you kindly for coming.
Thanks, Andy. I appreciate the intro. Like I said, my name is Eric Smith, here representing the Ops Sig. I've been involved with this as a member for I'm not even sure how long, at least 10 plus years, probably closer to 15 or longer. Got into model rate operations as a member of the Purdue Railroad Club at Purdue University. One of the, it's had some fairly famous alumni come out of it, including John Armstrong, Tony Custer, and others. So that's kind of where I first learned about it. And the best way to describe it is it's a niche within a niche, right? Model railroading is definitely a niche hobby, and realistic operations is a niche within that group. But if I can share this real quick. So the Operations SIG is a NMRA official special interest group focusing on how to do realistic model railroad operations. And this doesn't just mean what was called TT and TO, timetable and train order. There are lots of other types of ways to operate your railroad, and we encourage all of it. Whether you're a beginner, just trying to figure out, okay, how can I get past something where I'm just circle burning to you know, the most complex operational schemes like you might see on some of the, let's say, the grandmasters of the hobby, like Bruce Chubb, or the portion of Ellen McClellan's railroad that still lives at the Deepwater District in Cincinnati. So we encourage all of it, and all of that helps to promote model railroading as a whole, right? If you give your trains something to do, they're a lot more interesting to operate. As far as benefits, the journal that Andy mentioned is called the Dispatcher's Office. This picture here is the last issue that we produced. They come out every quarter, have been for the past at least 20 years. They've done January, April, July, and October. It's full color magazine. You can get it in both digital and print quality. And if you either get a digital or a print subscription, you actually have access to our entire 30-year back catalog of all of the issues. We added that recently to the website as a benefit for membership. So you can go back all the way back to issue number 1. As far as member benefits, we maintain a member directory. You can obviously opt in and out of that. We do have an event calendar. Obviously, COVID has kind of leveled the, getting together and operating trains, but now that things are starting to loosen back up, there is at least 2 big events that I'm aware of coming up. These operations weekends that we describe. The one we're planning in Indianapolis, there will be a 3-hour session on Friday night, 2 3-hour sessions on Saturday, and 1 on Sunday. We jokingly call them Ops Till You Drop. They're a lot of fun. We even have in our area a 1/8 scale, or 1/8. I think it's a 7.5 inch track outdoor layout. So not only are you operating the trains, but you're actually having to ride there to do the switching of the cars. It's a lot of fun. We also have a railroad directory, and this is all for members. You can publicize your railroad, take pictures, and that's all part of the website. As far as outreach, obviously our purpose is to try to get other people into model railroad operations. So one of the things that we started it was last Easter, actually, a year ago Easter, is our virtual meetup. This is every other Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern. This is open to the public. We record them, put them up on YouTube for people, obviously trying to find a time for everybody around the world to get together is tough. But we've had a lot of success with this. If you're interested, you can go to opsig.org/virtual and see when our next event is. It's actually tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern. We have a Facebook page. We put lots of operational, pictures of operating sessions, pictures of operational railroads, pretty much anything operations related you can find there at facebook.com/operationsig. Our YouTube channel, youtube.com/operationsig, has all of the recordings of our previous virtual meetups. There's also a tutorial up there that I did for, I think it was the southeastern region of the NMRA, on sort of an introduction to operations, if that's something that interests you. We go through all of these real easy ways to start adding some operations to your railroad. There are lots of industry resources, tutorials. All of that is available for free at opsig.org. Another site that's related, not officially sponsored by OPsig, but something I put together, is called operatingsessions.com. This is a separate site where if you're hosting an operating session or you want to go to one, you can sign up here and you'll get notified of operating sessions in your area. You can go through, see all the railroads that are registered, and the vast majority of them are looking for new people to come operate. So it's a good way to kind of get your toes into the hobby. As far as I'll throw this out as an offer for the group or for people that's watching. If you'd like to get a digital free copy of the last issue, all you need to do is send an email to editor@opsig.org, and I'd be happy to send you a copy. Obviously, if you're already a member, well, you already got it. So, well, like I said, I think we're doing a lot of things to help promote the hobby of model railroading in general and operations and specifically, and love to have you join. With that, I'll stop my share and turn it back to Andy.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that, Eric. Does anybody have any questions for Eric before I turn it back to Jim?
And do you have to belong to the NMRA to belong to the OPsig?
NMRA membership is suggested, but it is not required to join the OPsig. NMRA, let's just say of late, there have been some political things that have caused people to not want to join the NMRA. We encourage it, but it is not required.
If I'm a new modeler, as far as operations is concerned, I've heard a lot about it, but I got a small model railroad. I don't have a gigantic thing. Why should I be interested in the OPsig?
Well, the OPsig is out there to, I started with a 4x8 sheet of plywood, loop around the outside. And after a little while, as a 7 or 8 year old kid, I got bored with it. The trains just kind of went round and round. They didn't really do anything. Operations adds a couple of different things to the hobby of model railroading. Now, obviously, if your layout, there are some gorgeous layouts that are really mostly for display. You know, people are really focused on the details of it, the modeling aspect, and none of this takes away from that. And please don't misunderstand me in that. However, a lot of people, adding operations gives you a couple of different things as benefits. One, it's social. You know, we make jokes about how, especially, you know, this is a male dominated hobby. Men, especially as they get older, tend not to have friends, right? They have people, I mean, it's, you know, it's, and so having a operational model railroad, you have a group of people that are coming to your house or to your building or your club to get together to run trains. That gives you a social aspect to it. There is the idea of almost like a puzzle mentality. We talk about, you know, as people are aging, keeping your brain active is just as important as physical activity. The idea of, okay, and it doesn't have to be, you know, the dreaded time saver layout that everybody seems so fond of. You know, it's like, okay, I'm pulling my train into one of the towns on Andy's layout. I need to put 3 cars on that track. I need to put 2 over here, and I need to pick up 3 of them here. There's a puzzle aspect to that, right? And it's not mean, it's not difficult. It's just something you have to figure out how to do. And depending on the type of layout and the size of the layout, it can be anything from, okay, well, when you come into this town, you've got 2 cars. Okay, leave the 2 cars and pick up the ones that are there. All the way up to, okay, you need to find Southern Pacific boxcar 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that's going to be on this track, and it needs to be this place in your train. It just gives you a wide variety of things to do. And as a new modeler, 4x8 sheets of plywood are not the best, are not necessarily the best option. You can do a lot more in terms of operations if you split that 4x8 sheet of plywood into 4 1x8 sheets and do like a switching layout. You can have a lot more operations with that. And it's just the idea that, you know, get beyond the 4x8 sheet of plywood, give your trains something to do, and it will provide a lot. I think it provides a lot more enjoyment to what you're building. You know, there's a reason for that industry there. There's a reason for that track to be there. And let's say Jim Murphy is asking questions. Does OPsig have a plan or program to work towards the AP dispatcher certificate? Jim, we've actually, just in the last issue, there was an article on, we've done this several times, on people's journey towards chief dispatcher. They kind of talk about what did they put together with their railroad. You know, how did they achieve how did they get the certificate? So we've definitely promoted that in the past. We've done it, like I said, that just came out in the April issue, and I know we've had one other article about that. Does that answer your question, Jim?
Yes, sir, it does. Thank you so very much. I really appreciate you taking the time to be with us tonight.
All right, well, I appreciate it. Like I said, if you'd like a free copy of the April issue, just email editor@opsig.org, and I'd be happy to provide that for you. Thanks for your time.
I'm all set, Jim, if you are.
I am. Is that all you got?
I'm all set. Thank you.
Gotcha. Thank you so much, Andy. It was a great idea. I really appreciate you bringing this to our attention.
Mhm.